इतना सफर कुछ होने में और बहुत कुछ होने में। इतना सा फर्क है एक बार सोच के छोड़ देने में और लग के कर दिखाने में। मान लेने में कि जिंदगी ऐसे ही कटेगी और सुबह 4 बजे उठ के सोचने में कि अभी तो बस शुरुआत है। किसी मैगजीन को हाथ में लेने में और उसी मैगजीन के कवर पेज पे होने में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वीआईपी सीट में और उसकी पिछली सीट में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वो जिसका मैदान ही खुला आसमान है वही कल जमीन पर तो था। पूछोगे तो बताएगा वो पंछी कि एक दायरे में सिमटने में और पूरी दुनिया को दायरा बनाने में बस इतना सा फर्क है। इतना कितना है? इतना या इतना है जो नापेगा वो जाने कि जहां धरती और आसमान मिलते हैं, नाम दूर से दूर, अगर मगर शायद से भी, वहां भी दोनों में फर्क बस इतना सा है। धरती और सातवें आसमान में फर्क बस इतना सा। ये एक अंतर प्रेरणा है। ये हमारी आपकी हम सब की अंतर प्रेरणा है। एक कदम, एक छलांग, एक बाजी, एक गहरी सांस और एक ललकार खुली हवाओं में कि हाँ मैं बना हूं इन फिजाओं के लिए, कि हाँ मैं बना हूं उन ऊंचाइयों के लिए जो ऊंची तो बहुत है और नामुमकिन भी नहीं, क्योंकि मुमकिन और नामुमकिन बस इतना सा धूप छांव में फर्क बस इतना सा। तो बस चलिए फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया के साथ ये फर्क मिटा देते हैं। फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया, 20 years of ideas.
Good afternoon, one and all. A warm welcome to the 30th edition of Business Opportunity Over Chai webinar series, an initiative by Franchise India team, where we provide you all the brands which we promote and to give you help on a selection of brands. We welcome our panelist, Chairman Franchise India, Gaurav Sir, and our MD, Franchise India Brands Limited, Sonia Ma'am, for this particular session. The brand of the day is Burgle, and we have privilege where we have brand co-founders and founders live with us to talk about their brand. We welcome Ankur Madan and Shrey Madan, and thank you so much for sparing your time and interacting with our all the audience. Thank you so much, Ankur. Thank you so much, Shrey. Over to you for the journey of Burgle.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. This is Shrey Madan.
Hi, good afternoon. This is Ankur Madan. So we are co-founders of
So we'd like to introduce ourselves today. So this is Burgeril is a brand which started back in 2016, and we have been lucky enough to be awarded 3 times in a row by Times Food as the best burger chain, as an iconic burger brand, and also a healthy fast food brand. We currently have 30 plus outlets in 15 plus cities with just 3 years into the business. And we feel that this is just our, hard work, which brings this brand to a level where we always wanted this to be. This has always been our vision to bring this brand to what it really deserves. So we have at least a 35 plus years experience in the hospitality industry, and we have our stores from Delhi to Punjab, Haryana, Kolkata, Lucknow, and many other places in Himachal too. So I will be talking about our co-founders who started this business, starting with Ankur Madan, who is also the CEO of the brand, and he's got his business masters in international business. And I am Shrey Madan, who is the creative head for Burgle, and also been in the industry with the culinary experience of above 8 years, and also Rajat Baba, who is also from the culinary background, and has worked with reputed brands like Radisson and also Marriott in his career. We always had a vision to make it really big in this industry, and we really focused on making sure we're pleasing the Indian palate, striking a fine balance between health and taste, while still keeping in a sense, retaining the sense of a QSR. And talking about our mission, we make sure that our brand is the fastest growing brand, not only through our own outlets, but franchising it out and making it available to all other people around the globe to make sure that our brand grows fast. And also, we are a process oriented brand. These are the places that we are present right now in, which is majorly concentrated in the north, with a lot of majority in Delhi NCR and few in Punjab, in Kolkata, Himachal, and Uttar Pradesh. So why would you choose Burgerel? That's the most important question for every franchisee. Why should you choose Burgerel? We consider ourselves as a healthy fast food brand. And why do we call that? Is because the main thing about our brand is we ensure that whatever we give you is served in whole wheat buns, multigrain paninis. You want to have a sense of fast food, but also want to make sure that you are eating right, is what our concept is. So back in 2016, when we started our brand, our main point was how do we bridge a gap between the high multinational brands and also make sure that we are being served a very good food at a very pocket friendly price. So that is where the burger came into picture. Even the first outlet we opened was a franchise owned. So there was someone who believed in our vision before we did. So this is how we started a brand. And the reason we sell franchising, and the reason is because whenever our customers come in, whenever they try our food, they want to know and they want to understand how do we run this business. So the main purpose of our choosing our business was to make sure that all the processes that we have are so simplified that none of our franchisees have a different issue running the business when running the business without any issues, and also making sure that we have consistent food. The only thing that is consistent is, whatever thing is very important for any restaurant brand is consistency. That whatever you're serving, like whatever we're serving in Delhi, is the same as what we are serving in maybe Kolkata or maybe Lucknow. So how do we do that? Is we have our own specific recipes that we have developed, created, and also run through our own supply chain, which we deliver to your store. Also ensure everything that is being is totally healthy, as in it's the for example the meats we use is uh, is totally fresh when we cook them, as in we cook them freshly, we serve them, we ensure that the experience is really really nice. Uh, we didn't even start with just burgers. We always wanted an array of products that we always had in our mind. Excuse me. So we wanted to bring in, healthy bowl section in our menu, wherein we also cater to people wherein the health segment is growing massively around the globe and especially in India too. Unique selling proposition. What is our USP? Again, as I told you, it's healthier food, wheat buns, dishes mentioning the calorie count. Another USP, our own ingredients. We have a lot of new varieties. We have it. You will be wondered to know that we have a 65% chunk of people who eat vegetarian at our store. In spite of a lot of issues getting a lot of vegetarian patties, we have developed patties like beetroot, which none of other brands have really thought of, wherein we bring in a beetroot patty, which also is palatable to the Indian taste. And then we have introduced chicken breast, which is cooked fresh and served inside a burger, stuck inside a burger and served to you guys. A dedicated cold chain, as I mentioned before, we have our own supply chain where everything is processed, gone through a QA, made sure that it is fit for our standards, and then we distribute it all over to our franchisees, ensuring that the whole process is simplified for them. Whatever they get, they just have to assemble the food and make sure their customers are going with a smile. Millennial brand, we are young and entrepreneurs. We started a business 2016, very aggressive with our business. The only vision that we have is to make sure that every step, every franchisee with us is a family and is making money with us. Our main aim is to make sure that everybody running in this organization is making money. The sole purpose of buying a franchisee. What does it take to be a part of the Oval family? First of all, a smile, because that's very, very important and very important for any industry, for our industry especially. But that's the main thing. Entrepreneurial skills. We do not need any prior expertise or experience in the food industry because, as I told you, the processes are watertight. We make sure that all the processes are in place. We design the kitchen for you. We design everything for you. We design the whole outlet for you. You do not worry about anything. The only thing you need to worry is how do you sell that product? How do you charm your customer? How do you bring that smile to the customer, which has always been our number one priority. Capital investment funds, we have invested a lot of funds in terms of creating different, we have a proper R&D which works on creating different menus every year to introduce everything. There are new things. So, for example, we have just launched a collaboration with Cornitos, wherein we have brought in walking nacho bags. So this is a concept which is making it is like loaded nachos on the go. So since we know times are going shorter, people are getting busier. It's tough for everyone to stop by, eat. we have brought in a, a specific product to make sure your nachos cravings are being taken care of. So I mean, I remember eating nachos only at a restaurant, fancy restaurant, serving at like anything between 350 to 400. That was one of the best snacks to be eaten while you're consuming alcohol. But again, this place, we ensure that we give that loaded thing and we make it sustainable by serving it inside the main packet of Cornitos. And that is where our collaboration with Cornitos has gone really, really strong. We have increased the numbers tremendously, and this has been one of our most extensive campaign and also one of the most successful ones. Our focus is very clear. We want to make sure that everybody in this business is making money. And also, one more thing, which is giving excellent food to our customers and bringing a smile on their face. Financials will be taken care of by my brother, my partner, Ankur, who will be talking about how different models we have to serve you with burger.
Hi, everybody. This is Ankur on the side. So we have about three models.
Ankur, your voice is not so stable. So
Hello, I'm audible for it?
better now, but I think still.
It's very distant. Your voice is very distant.
I think this
I don't know why you're sitting very close to each other, but still we're not able to hear you.
One second. And then I'll just continue.
Okay, so can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have three models wherein we bring in burgers. First being a takeaway, which requires a minimum space of just 200 to 250 square feet, and wherein a total investment is around 33 to 34 lakh rupees. And we believe that with the current scenarios, not the current scenarios, previous scenarios, we could break in and we can payback period is 1 year, 10 months. And similarly, it's a dine-in. Dine-in, we start from anything between 400 square feet to 600 square feet, which has got a small dine-in of anything between 15 to 20 people. And again, it's 1 year, 6 months. And then we have another concept, which is starting at with beer, which is, and the minimum square requirement is around 1,000 square feet. And what are we famous for? These are the things that we already have: burgers, healthy bowls, wraps, and we have sandwiches, which are just introduced, drinks, meals, snacks. We are very famous for our fries, very popular there. Um, and again, then we also bring in another thing that is due to COVID, we understand that a lot of people have lost a lot of their revenues coming in. We have also introduced a concept called Burger Express, which is majorly targeting tier 2 and tier 3 cities, wherein the total investment is 20 lakh rupees, which includes everything other than the working capital. And also, this space requirement is anything between 200 to 250 square feet. And again, this could be also used as a model wherein you work out of just a kitchen, which is very popular nowadays, also known as ghost kitchens, or just kitchen spaces, which is just doing delivery through our own app, through our own website, Zomato, Swiggy, and many other ways of sending those. This is currently our menu, which starts with burgers, which is our specialty, wherein we have equal number of options for vegetarian and non-vegetarian, which is one of the best parts that we feel, and we have been appreciated all the while for this. And then we have fries. Again, we have like simple fries, and we have loaded fries, wraps. Again, two options, similar options in vegetarian, non-vegetarian. Then we come to our sandwiches, which is made out of multigrain bread, served inside the multigrain bread. Then we have a special thing called cheat day specials. That is where we also want to capture another market, which we make sure that we do not lose on our clientele who really wants to have a cheat day meal. So which has got wings, it's got kebab platters, it's got vegetarian wings, it's got sausage on a stick. So these things, and then we have a very major component, which is the healthy bowl, which is also one of our most, most fancy product, or maybe one of the most selling product as well, wherein we have again the similar kind of options in vegetarian and non-vegetarian going in together, and also then the walking nacho bag, which is also very popular as I just told you. And we have a very different kind of drinks, wherein again we focus on a lot on health, wherein we have, for example, the basic thing is smoothies. So for example, so the kind of processes I was talking about, I really want to mention this. So this is that we make sure that we kind of use fresh fruits, we puree it, give a frozen pouch to you. So for any franchisee who wants to work, is just opening that pouch, adding a specific amount of milk or yogurt, putting in ice, blending it, and the product is ready. There is no need to add anything else because we have added everything that you need, all the frozen fruits, everything is in there. And it's very simple to run a franchisee for burgers. And we also work on a simple dessert menu, which is mousses that we prepare on our own end, and also get sure that it's very popular among all our customers. Moving on to you.
Thank you, both the Madam. I think very helpful for our audience, and so I think we will start with a little differently, because we in last 30 odd days we've been doing a lot of webinars, and while our largest portfolio before COVID was food, and with COVID happening, I think there was a lot of anxiety in the food space, and what would happen to food restaurants, and what would happen to QSRs, and what would happen to delivery concepts, and so on and so forth. So I'll start with one very big question, because you are heavily invested, committed, 30 restaurants of your running. What is your idea? And this is a larger sense of things, and what is your idea about what is happening to the QSR industry? And then I'll also give my viewpoint for an audience, but I would like to hear from you. What is happening on QSR? Is it a right time for investors to look at investing into food? And if yes, what are the 2, 3, 4 reasons which you think is right? And then we go into especially on Burger and talk about it.
It has been really tough to be really true. It has been, the current scenarios have brought in a lot of scare among all the people, especially in the tourism and the hospitality industry. But I really feel there is nothing to worry about because people don't stop eating. And the best part about any other brand or maybe any other QSR is that we have always been focusing on delivery and also on few things which include takeaways or anything which also bring in a lot of revenue to us.
I believe people are getting scared because of COVID and stuff, but I personally believe in taking it positively as being a QSR chain. I think this is the right time to grow because when you know the bigger restaurants around, we have lesser competition in the market. The QSR brands serving good food tend to grow. And when we grow, we capture the market, we satisfy the taste of our customers, try to give them unique food, and specifically for a smaller kitchen, smaller QSR, it's easier to maintain the hygiene part, taking care of the COVID in practice.
Sure. So you're absolutely right. And this is why we thought that we will begin the food part of our journey at Franchise India and try to promote it. And that's why we invited you here, because we also at Franchise India feel that food businesses or any business you do it for a long term. You do it for 5 years or 10 years and so on and so forth. And when you want to enter any business, when the proposition is the best, and let's do some equality in terms of what is the biggest problem. When somebody started with a question from Chandigarh and say, why would this business run good in Chandigarh or when the rentals are so high? One of the starting points I want to tell to all the investors is, if you want to get into anything to do with the retail, it can be food service, it can be other retail business. This is a great time because you will get about 25 to 30% lower rental ratios. And that would impact your business model for next 5 years. Imagine if you got a place which is 50,000 rupees cheaper at this stage, and you save 6 lakh rupees a year, and you save 30 lakh rupees over 3 or 5 years. So it's a big saving which you would start working on that. That's one. Second, I think what you rightly said, this is a consolidation time. In a consolidation time, Me Too players don't exist. Me Too players go out. People who have great product, they survive. And because great products creates carving, people follow that product. I mean, I know a company which we worked a long time back called Shake Shack in New York. You know, Shake Shack was what you are in India. So it's a quality burger, and there used to be queues. The kids used to stand in queues to get that burger and everything. So that's another big advantage on a strong product companies. And just for everybody's understanding, I think the both brothers who are founders of the business actually have split roles, and one actually Ankur handles more on the operations side and finance and leadership and so on and so forth. And Shay comes from his background on culinary skills. That's why he's called himself a creative head, and his creativity comes on the quality of the product. So what they have actually done is actually engineered one of the best burgers out there in the town. So people who would have a strong proprietary product in food would do always good. And India had this huge gap of what I call the gourmet burger space. You know, everybody was very industrial and nobody had a really good grilled burgers or a lot of other options. And they have actually gone out and innovated. And this is something which companies of their size and structure are able to do it, which the bigger boys are not able to do. They cannot change their product faster to understand what markets are going to react on. And so they are able to adjust that. Another thing which I liked about their business model is that they have kept it low capex. And this is one of the areas where companies and brands have failed because they had a lot of investment in equipment and so on and so forth. So that the franchisee was loaded and the return on capital becomes very difficult. So their business model is relatively tighter, smaller, fast throughput, a lot of work on delivery, a lot of options so people can repeat it faster. India, people like a little bit spread menu. Somebody want to indulge, somebody wants to go light. A lot of options for people to have a meal at all times. So it's a great business model. So now I'll come down to a little bit understanding of a business model from our audience viewpoint, because a lot of people want to understand. And we divide three things. One is a business model, which I will like you to talk about. What is your occupancy cost? What is your food cost? What other expenses are there? What kind of margins a franchisee can make? a little bit on your financials, and then we'll talk about what is happening on the influence. What do you think is going to happen? How much it would be percentage of delivery? What would be the retail percentage, and so on and so forth. And third part, we'll talk about what the risk you see in the business. Three things: business model, a lot of influences, how you think the consumption is going to change, how much is delivery, takeaway, and delivery also you can talk about a little bit. What do you pay the platforms, how that is also changing, because a lot of people are complaining the platform charge higher, there is a pressure, they would bring prices down. So talk about that, because we will like to understand more on the business model, and especially for our audience. And finally, when you end, you can talk about the markets which have been very exciting, because I personally feel that the whole B and C cities of India, which are out there where people can drive through and pick up, and it's a much interesting markets. So over to you. We would like to hear from you. Yeah.
Thank you, Gaurav. And we really appreciate your kind words about talking about an innovative brand like us. Okay, I would like to tell you something and bring in a point which I missed out during our presentation, which is one of the most important points for any investor to understand how do we guys operate, is that we work on a 60% repeat rate, which is way above the average industry standards. That's one of our biggest achievement till now. So, and how do we calculate that? Is the number of customers who come back within 30 days of eating from a burger, and when they repeat it within 30 days. That is what we call as a repeat rate. So that has been really nice. And talking about the model, we totally believe with the COVID in place, the current scenarios are very, very tough. And our processes is that we work on a food cost of 33%. And all our franchisees who are happy and making money, I mean, before the COVID, were anything between 15 to 17% of net profit, which is taking home money that you take home. So that's one of the things. We have our major contributors to our business model were Zomato and Swiggy, which was the trend and has been the trend for the last 1 year, wherein our online orders contributed to 80% of our total sales, which they charge us a lot of money. But we have been lucky enough that we were associated with them way before a lot of other brands came into existence. And that's why our commission, which I would not be like to disclose them right now, but they are a lot, we have a lower percentage on, and that is decided pan brand. So wherever you open an outlet of Burger, you are putting onto a commission which is way lesser than what the market standards are. And with the 80% of our business, we also came up with an idea to bring in our own app and website for online ordering. That's a major concern, which we thought, so why not save money? And our target was to achieve not more than 20-25% within the first 3 months. And we were lucky enough to achieve at least like 10%, knowing that it's COVID, wherein 10% of our business has already been shifted to our website and our app, which is one of our major concerns for a lot of people, because they feel that the money is being taken by the aggregators. But here we bring in much better discounts to the people, to the customers, through our app and through our online portals that we work on.
Sure, very helpful. Now I'd like to invite Sonia. Sonia, your remarks and questions, please.
Yes, thank you so much, Ankur and Shrey, for putting this together for all our viewers, and also to give a perspective. I think food is one industry or one category which is today most talked about, because what we have seen the last many years, and especially the last 3 odd years, we had a big demand of a lot of food brands and outlets going on across, and the situation post-COVID has not been that great. So just to put a perspective about the industry and how it has evolved over the years is what I would like to start with, and I'd like to come up with a lot of questions which are people are putting up on that chat. So growth, so to say, you all are people with big experience in hospitality, almost 13 odd years you've been in the industry. If you see how the business has evolved, the last many, I would say several decades, it has been consumer driven and big desire for convenience when it comes to food industry. Socialization is one big aspect, while we see that missing in these times. And third is high quality of food and service, which always remained very dominant. And what we see now is also a big focus on technology and data, which makes, I would say, consumer experience more valuable, and also makes also companies like your, brands like you, maybe tweak or change their operating model, how menus and what people are consuming in these locations. So if we look at the evolving nature of the business, the very first phase of food, which we all saw, was penetration only in the top cities like Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, and everything was just multi-cuisine. All the Indian restaurants were multi-cuisine. We had no segmentation, so to say. And then we saw the entry of international brands like McDonald's, Pizza Hut, KFCs, which came in the mid 1990s. And that's the time that we all saw and witnessed there was a broader segmentation of the offering and servicing offered by these businesses. And the second phase came in where this demand went to tier 2 and tier 3. And that's where we also currently see there's a big demand which is coming from tier 2 cities. And this was in 2000, where we saw a further clear segmentation of these formats, which was the style of the formats, which was QSR, CDR, fine dining, bar lounges, and etc. And this last phase is the current decade that we are in, that we have started seeing a big shift in the overall organized sector, where the shift has started happening. While overall the segment is dominated by the unorganized sector, but thanks, or maybe, I would say that there's some silver lining also with this COVID times, where a lot of trust will start coming back to the organized share. And if you have witnessed, and I'm sure you would have, a lot of deliveries that we saw happening in the last 2.5 months of time came from businesses that were trusted, or brands where people were consuming and they were sure the hygiene was in place. And so this decade saw a shift, and I would say a very sharper segmentation, even within these categories of QSR, which was within burger chains or pizza chains or, fry chains. And this era also started seeing cloud kitchens and technology. It started to, I would say, play a very big role. And we'll see, and while we have a lot of things that we are hearing and talking about, how consumer would behave, what platforms they would start consuming. But prior to COVID, we saw in India, especially, our consumption in a month was almost 7 times in a month, and especially led by millennial group, which you started off your presentation with, that happens to be a big consumer also of your product. Today in India, we have almost 70 lakh odd restaurants in the organized sector, and there are about 2 odd crores which are sitting in the unorganized sector. We're seeing that shift happening today. So just to understand, Shrey, whenever an investor is looking at opportunity to invest in, there are a couple of things that he takes into consideration, which is how sustainable the system is, which means how long you've been operating, how robust that system is. Second is the demand of the system altogether, which is also very important, especially in these times. I saw in the presentation there are 3 odd formats, and maybe I would like you to highlight and maybe enlighten our people also. Out of these 3 formats, which of these are the formats that you think are sustainable at this point in time? And third point, which I would say is value for the investment, which one is putting in, which means the ROI is coming out of these investments. Fourth is a support, which is coming out, or companies like you supporting their franchisees in times like these. And fifth, I would say stability of the company or the franchisor at large. So these are 5 parameters which currently, or anybody before taking an investment decision would take into consideration. So my first question to you would be, while we touched upon that a bit, one of the biggest concerns which I'm seeing otherwise also is on the ROI. So if you can give some projection of what your 30 plus outlets, because you've been running these outlets in 30 or 15 cities in India, and most of these cities are north centric, and one on Park Street in Kolkata. That's where your outlets are running. What kind of revenues were you making? Is there a differentiation in terms of the locations that you currently operate out of? Also, based on my own observation, I've not seen all the outlets, but I know the locations you're running, and in some I've witnessed myself. How would you differentiate that? Because I see some questions. One came from Chandigarh, where he said where these times are relevant for them to invest, and how the real estate cost, because you're not operating out of any malls at this stage, which currently are very high on occupancy cost, and especially food runs on very bleak margins. It looks a very attractive industry, but it works on very bleak margins, where if the occupancy cost is higher, you lose a lot of margins in the business. So just to come back, what kind of ROI guidance you have for your franchisees today? Do you see a delay in that? Second is, out of the 3 formats that you talked about, which are the formats that you currently guide your investors to look at? And what kind of average sales have these outlets, the current outlets, been making in the last, say, 1, 2, or 3 years of your operating them?
So, Sonia, I would like to answer all your questions. I'll start off with the brand time, first of all. I think I'm audible again now.
Not much. We don't hear. I don't know. There's some.
We are working on the same airport.
I don't know why. That's very.
Working through airports, I have to guess. There's a problem with the latest
It's better now. It's better.
Okay.
Is this better?
I can hear you.
Yeah. Is this better?
For me, I think it's better now.
Yeah, okay. I think for the guests and investors, is this comfortable? Chalo, I'll start. So, Sonia, I believe in today's scenario where post-COVID, I believe mostly the business was already shifted to delivery and takeaway. It was no more dine-in. And post-COVID, it is more primarily, majorly the business has been shifted to takeaway and dine-in. So, I believe the first kind of instrument we've told you, we've introduced a product called Burgeril Express, which is not being mentioned here because we've just initiated this thing about a week back. So what have we taken care in this is that the investment goes down. The investment, what we've been investing, that is 33.34 lakh rupees in a regular model, but with Express for tier 2, tier 3 cities, it has gone down to 21 lakh rupees or 21 odd lakh rupees. And the ROI, how do we calculate ROI is that we understand the payback time, the payback money, what we get from our customers, what we get from our customers while running a store. Eventually, the fastest I've achieved is 8 months, and the latest I've achieved about 20-21 months for a regular. My average sales for different stores from tier 1 to tier 2 varies from 8 lakh rupees to 15 lakh rupees on a monthly mode. That's the revenue, kind of revenue we're looking at from a regular small dining and a small takeaway store. The bigger stores where I have a lot of high street, like you already mentioned, Kolkata, you mentioned Chandigarh, there are few stores which are doing extremely high revenue as compared to regular takeaways. But I believe in this scenario, takeaway would be doing a wonderful job, as I believe the day COVID started, I think 21st March, that the Janata curfew thing started, we have not closed few of our stores in Delhi from not even a single day in this COVID scenario. And we have seen a decline in sales initially, but past about 1 month, our sales are coming back. I've achieved 70 to 75% sales I used to have before pre-COVID. I've achieved that sales back. So I don't think people need to worry about post-COVID, are the customers going to come in? Yes, we are Indians. We love to eat out. We just don't have dal roti every day. Yes, we need to go out. And here, what we play as a bigger role, that we portray health and hygiene both. So people can just come out. We have visible kitchens because takeaway kitchens are all open kitchens. You can see how we're working. All the precautions and preventive measures have been taken care. And yes, just due to these factors, we're getting back our sales. It's about 5 stores in Delhi, which have opened in this COVID scenario out of 14. I believe we have taken back 70 to 75% sales, which was earlier there. We've introduced a model called Drive-In Dine-In, which has been a hit for last 10 days to be precise, where we have started giving the cars pop-in. They park their cars. We have guys who go and serve them in the cars and give them the right product with a proper hygiene and preventive measures has been taken care. So this drive-in dining has given us a very good boost in terms of takeaway business, which was not earlier. Earlier it was all delivery and only delivery. But yes, last 10 days, about week to 10 days, we started this and we've got a great initiative in this.
This campaign, drive-in dining, which Ankur just spoke about, has been there has been a success ratio only because of one thing. We have made sure that we have face shields running in. We have a name badge which tells the temperature of the employee who is serving you. He also has all the masks. He has sanitizer in his pocket. For any customer he's serving, he first sanitizes his hands for his own safety too, and also for the safety of the customer. We make sure that ordering is not a task anymore, wherein we give them a QR code menu. So they don't need to have a physical menu, which might have virus strains on them. So you can just scan it on your while sitting inside your car, and you can just scan it and you can get the menu on your phone, and you can maybe order online through our app, or you can just tell the guy who is outside and place an order. So these are few safety measures that we have taken and have been really successful, and people have really loved them. We have received a lot of people appreciating about the techniques that we have used to ensure that they are being served safely, because nobody wants to sit at home after sitting for 3 months at their houses. They want to come out, and that is where our revenue is coming on. So these campaigns is what we master at. We make sure that we touch the point where our investors are happy and our customers are happy, and they are safely being served the food that we have.
Okay, great. I think that was helpful. One thing I don't know if I missed out, what kind of guidance you have on the kind of sales across these three formats, just to give an average revenue or a throughput, which comes out of these formats.
Okay, we have three formats as of now. One is a takeaway format. Second is a semi-takeaway, small dine-in. Third is a proper dine-in within beer. So I believe we have not reduced the third model. We were supposed to open up pre-COVID, but I think we'll wait to open that. That's a company operated store coming up in Gurgaon, but we have stopped that because of the people are getting scared to dine in at the moment. So we'll give it another 3 months to understand, and then we'll open up the third store. We usually have 50% of takeaway stores and 50% of dine-in with a bigger takeaway. Dine-in with takeaway. This is the second part, what we've shown in these slides. So I believe first and second for a dine-in store, our average sales started from about we have stores who are doing about 25 lakh rupees, and that's a very amazing amount. Out of a 30 stores, 2 stores, takeaway stores, are doing 20 plus lakh sales on a monthly mode. And on that particular stores we talk about, post-COVID, we are still able to maintain about 15 to 16 odd lakh rupees of sales. The second model, the dine-in model, the sales starts, it can average from 8 to, again, 20 lakh rupees, depending on the size of the store, and depending on the market. Like a similar store in Chandigarh gives me a better sales, better dining. Those people tend to go out, they tend to sit in and eat. But in comparison to, if you go to Lucknow, that's a little conservative market, but still there we have less of dining, but more of takeaways, more of deliveries, and we are achieving the desired sales.
Okay. Now that question which I'm a lot of people putting, and I was just going through that chat box, as we've not talked about the royalty. If you look at the investment, one, and if I so one is royalty, and the other is you put two components. One was the investment of across all these three formats, and the other is the franchise fee component. So do we have when we talk about the investment, does this include the franchise fees? And second, what is the royalty and how is that taken? Is that fixed or that's percentage?
The prices which we have shown down includes the franchise fee in totality, but the royalties are always separate. Due to COVID, we introduced another thing. We used to charge 7% flat royalties on our sales. Whatever sales you have, we charge 7% of royalties on the net sales. But due to COVID, we've introduced as a support to our customers, we have just given them a 20,000 cap till the sale of 6 lakh rupees, because I believe you can do a break even about 4.5 to 5 lakh rupees. So till 6 lakh rupees, the company charges just 20,000 rupees in totality from you. And after 6, the day you increase the sales from 6, we charge 7% as royalty. Again, because when you're making money, you don't mind paying us. But if you're not making money, we do not like to put pressure on you. Until 6, we just charge us pretty amount of 20,000 rupees as monthly royalty from you.
And just to add on that, that's very good move. Fixed royalty of 20,000 is very attractive for investors, and if they take decision right now, this continues as a relationship, because
absolutely.
It's an advantage for people. So there are two advantages now. in this one, you get cheaper rentals for takeaway, smaller capex, and second is that you get a lower royalty structure, which would always improve your profitability, and especially when the things are normal and running. These two factors are very big factors for you. And the third question, additional thing I would like to understand is when you supply the food, one, how the supply chain really is consistent, and what is your end food cost? Because I've seen a lot of companies when they supply, the food cost becomes higher, and franchisee complains that I have a higher food cost and things like that. So how do you really create one consistency on the supply chain, and second, your price points remain in the same order?
When we actually take out the food cost, the only thing that we take care of is that everything is is inclusive of taxes. Since we don't get a rebate on our industry, wherein a 5% charge, I mean whatever GST we are paying, we don't get a redemption on it. But whatever franchise food cost that we're talking about remains at 33%, not above that. We are very 100% sure. We have been running it for 4 years. We know the problems, ins and outs. But we realize one thing, that our core area is food, wherein we do not increase our food cost above 33%.
There is a price at what our customers receive the amount, got to be at price. What customers receive the material is same pan India. We have a similar price point for everybody pan India. For an example, a bun, which can cost you about some X amount, is the same price what we serve it in Delhi or in Kolkata or in Lucknow. We try to manage this manage these prices so that every product we deliver through our food chain has a uniform price. So the price point or the food cost can be maintained at a similar rate provided throughout the country.
And it is frozen? You send frozen?
Yes.
We use a frozen supply chain which runs throughout the country, and we have our warehouses in 3 locations as of now. But the major warehouse is in Delhi only, wherein all the material comes in and we have a QA who checks the quality of the material, and then it goes through our freezers, and then it is distributed among all our franchisees.
And what is the shelf life of the product? And this also should be very third useful point for our viewers, that a lot of hygiene issues are happening where food is cooked on a fresher structure because they don't have capability of all the hygiene standards to be done. But when you do a product which is frozen, well packed, well structured, so all the entire supply chain becomes much more secure. Rather, there is a big shift now happening on people going on frozen products. People are eating out of these, and I think they trust those brands because they have a better capabilities to create the product in the right hygiene and right temperature levels and so forth. So what is the shelf life?
The shelf life that we work on is anything between 4 months for our dry goods, and for our frozen goes from 6 months to 9 months, which is never a worry, because we make sure we have a proper inventory system wherein we have measures like FIFO coming in place, and we don't have a lot of issues while we are supplying to our customers. We have a proper system in place wherein we have a portal wherein people, our franchisees, can exactly see the expiry date of that product while ordering their things. We have a website. You go on that, you place your orders on the website. You will exactly know how much you're paying. What is the price that you're paying? When will you receive the delivery? What is the expiry? What is the batch number? Everything is clearly mentioned while they are ordering. So that's the transparency. That's the transparency that we have maintained with our franchisees there. But nothing. The frozen does not go from 6 months to 9 months. And for our dry goods, anything between 4 months to 12 months. That's what we are working on right now.
So which is also very helpful now, because there's another big point which people should know, that when you have frozen, even if you have a lesser demand in the day, you really don't do that, because you only cook what you need to do. So your wastages come absolutely relatively to negligence, because you can really bring in predictability in a business like that. And that's why global companies, McDonald's, Burger Kings, which work on a very small price point, sometimes they only run on a frozen chains, because they understand that wastages in other businesses are very, very high. It can amount to anything from a 4, 5, 6%, and which can eat up your margin. And because this company has invested into creating the supply chain capabilities, so your wastages become reduced. Over to you, Sonia.
I think I'll pick up questions from the chat box, and I was making a note of those. Are we looking at any kind of a FOCO model, or are we just doing franchisee on franchisee operated? Is one of the questions we have.
We are 100% looking at franchise, owned and company operated FOCO models. We are 100% looking at, but we are looking at our locations specifically where our operations are very, very stable. So we are looking in Punjab, we are looking at Delhi. The northern region is majorly where we plan to do our FOCO models, to start our FOCO models from. And we're open to opportunities wherein we can start with FOCO models above in other parts of the cities, other parts of the countries too.
Okay, so very quickly.
Highlight for our friends who've joined in who has properties of their own. This is a great time for you to invest and do a FOCO where company brings in operational capability, you bring in your asset, and I think there can be a greater opportunity. I know a lot of people come to us these days who have their own property and they want to put that property into use. So if the property is good enough for a takeaway for a food restaurant, please reach us and we will be able to connect FOCO opportunities available for North India.
Okay, what kind of APCs are we looking at, which is the average ticket price per person, per customer?
The average ticket price pre-COVID was lower and was around 300 rupees. And right now, post-COVID, it has been amazingly overwhelming to know that we have crossed our APCs of 400 and above. So we are touching APCs of 400 per ticket.
That's high. I think that's a good, okay. There's somebody who's looking at a bifurcation of the entire investment. I think what we can do is we can share that in person and take that separately. Any other question, Ankur or Rashay, that you feel that you need to take up from the chat box? I think we have pretty much...
Select the location, because location is very, very critical in this business. And I found some of your locations, I always get your location when I enter Greater Clash, this just on the spot there, and it's a very busy location. While it doesn't have a parking, but you cannot miss that location. And you've been very smart in getting those locations. What is your mantra of getting the right location? Which is the right location?
When we look at our locations, we only want eyeballs, and eyeballs is one thing that really brings in a lot of curiosity among customers. Okay, why don't we go and try this? And that is where our repeat rate comes into place. So once they come and try and they like a product, and we make them stick to our brand. That's our main funda and the mantra of running it through, in a prime locations wherein we get a very busy road. We have a prime location and we have a lot of people seeing our boards and realizing that this is, oh, I've seen this in Hopkins. Oh, I've seen this in Malviya Nagar. Oh, I've seen this in GK. So that is where we bring in a comment wherein, oh, let's go and try this. And once they try it, we capture them and we make sure that these customers stay for long.
Absolutely. Great.
One question which I perhaps wanted to ask, looking at your current rollout, your locations are primarily in North, and I see a very clustered approach where you have kind of reached out to all the important locations in Delhi, and now I'm seeing Chandigarh, Punjab, kind of all the important cities being reached out. Is there a master franchise model also? Because we didn't see that in your presentation, one. And second, if there's an inquiry, I'm seeing a lot of people asking from Hyderabad, from Bombay and some other locations. So are we looking at awarding unit outside North is one question. Second, do we have a master franchise format also, which is available, which can be given to the franchisees?
Yes, Sonia, I think we have a master franchisee format, first of all, and secondly, we're ready to that maybe any part of the country right now, be it North India, be it Central, be it South. We're ready to, because we have focused on getting the processes ready here in Delhi, so we can serve the right product and deliveries and the supply chain to every desired part of the country. Secondly, yes, we do have a master franchisee program, which we've not disclosed up here, but yes, on a call basis, we do inform you, and we do have procedures and system to have a master franchisee or a multiple store franchisee along with that.
Okay, so that is something that you want to take up separately on one-on-one calls. So
Yes,
that is something
absolutely.
which is available. We can do that. But having said that, will you be open to taking unit from locations outside North and East?
Yes, we are ready to open up in Central and south part of the country. We are open to do anywhere in India. We are equipped to deliver the products and operate a store at any part of the country right now.
Okay, that's very helpful. I think we've kind of covered mostly all questions on the chat box, and there's some which are very specific to the city or to the prospect who have asked. I feel we can reach out to all of them one-on-one post the session, maybe today or tomorrow based on your availability. Any questions particularly that you find that you want to pick up, maybe you can do that. Otherwise, I think we can proceed towards the closing of our session today.
Yeah, it's a good session, and I think we got very helpful advice. And before we close the session, what we will do is every webinar we capture all the interest, and our teams would reach out to you to take your valuable time to set up these joint calls, because people would like to go into a different structure. And now because the businesses are open, so even they can subsequently visit, try the food. Because I always say that if you want to get into business of food, you go and try, meet the entrepreneurs, try the food, see their passion, what they produce, and so on. So you have a great product, and I will continue to say that you have a fabulous product out there. And I think
Thank you so much.
You have a winner product, and anybody who has not tried them, so you would get the answers. A lot of answers really lie in the food, so it's if the food is great, the business would happen around it. So your last remarks before we close the session, what do you want to really say to our audience?
We would like to say only one thing, that food business is really, really tough. It looks really charming from outside, but people who want to invest, they should only invest when they are totally into it. And this industry brings in a lot of, it does not even bring in just money, but it gives you a lot of fame, and it also gives you a recognition in a place there. I mean, when you consider yourself as a franchise, you're part of the family. So you are getting fame with the money. It is the right opportunity, knowing that COVID has really hit us bad, but I think it is right time, the opportunity for us to invest in the business and also bring in a change into our own system. Thank you, Gaurav. We had a good time with you guys, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
Yeah, sure. Sonia, your last comment.
Thank you so much, Ankur and Shrey, for coming on this webinar. This was very informative, and a lot of people out here were looking at somebody from the food industry coming and talking about what really is happening. And I see a model which is at these times with real estate rationalized, and I feel technology, which you also launched on your own, omni-channel, which is the way out, smaller formats with lesser capex, and value-added dining, delivery format, convenience, food on the go, zero wastage, sustainable menus, cheat meals from health meals. So I feel, the right combination of everything that you try to put together in your business. And we feel in the right times and the times to come, we'll see a huge number of rollouts happening. We still have about 30 that you've managed in the last 3 years, and a lot of credibility that you've built in the market, and you've moved very, very specifically in the locations where you felt you need to try, make this successful and go out. And one point which I really want to even reiterate for all the investors who are on the call, people asked about FOCO. You talked about people who are really interested in the business, who are putting in their time, are the people who should come in and take it. And food investment is not like any other investment. It is an active investment. You need to be involved at any given point in time, guys. So if you are clear about the opportunity, please ensure you have enough time at hand to get involved. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sonia. Thank you so much.
Before we leave you, I want to have one question from Shay, from you. What is your favorite burger? What is
What's my favorite burger has been a chicken quarter pounder, which has been there for a long time, and that's also one of the best sellers at our store.
And now tell me another question, which I don't know you were told. Which is a burger your brother doesn't like? And which you...
He does not like the mushroom burger. He does not like the beetroot burger. But no, I love it.
Oh, okay.
Gaurav, I'm a meat lover. I love having meat as any day above veggies there.
So at least you're honest. So very, very good. You keep doing a good work, and we're very proud of you. And both of you are tremendous entrepreneurs, and it's great to have brothers being working together. So God bless your business, and God bless the opportunity. So Archana, final word from you.
So thank you so much, all the friends and participants who will join us from Pan India. Thank you so much, Madan Brothers, Ankur and Shrey, for joining us, sparing time and interacting with our investor. Thank you so much, our panelists, Gaurav sir and Sonia ma'am, for all your insights and feedback. Guys, you can see in your chat box, we have given you all the details. You can contact Franchise India through all the calls, mails, and you can reach out to us through our social sites. We would love to help you with all the kind of the selection of the brands and give you further support. With this information, I would just request Dheeraj if we can put information about tomorrow's webinar, because we have a special edition where you have a chance to interact with Gaurav sir and Sonia ma'am for 1 hour, where 10 we are promoting 10 golden opportunities, and we have privilege where our brand representatives are also coming interacting with you. So don't miss this chance. Ask, prepare your queries. You can ask Gaurav sir, Sonia ma'am, and our brand representative about their brands. Take good care of yourself, your family, and your friends. Best wishes for the day. Look forward to have you tomorrow.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And look forward for another webinar tomorrow. And tomorrow we are taking special edition. And if you have any particular request, you can reach us directly also, and write to us at our LinkedIn profiles, and also at gm@gauravmaria.com. So if any request anybody has in terms of even finding what opportunity you like to hear, or what categories you would like to hear, reach out to us. So we will obviously work hard to bring those opportunities to you. Thank you very much.